Hi guys, welcome back for another video. Lola's just chilling there and I am trying to get up my little notes, so bear with me. Okie doke. Hi guys, how are you? My name is Linda and welcome to my channel if you're new here, and welcome back if you are not new. It's nice to see you guys again. So today we're going to talk about some safety tips for Halloween for your pup this year. So if you are a part of my email subscriber pack, then you will already have received your mini magazine, and I really hope that you enjoyed it. But part of the mini magazine was some of these safety tips. So today I'm going to talk you through them and my thoughts on them and things like that. If you saw my last video, then you will know about the Halloween printable pack that my email subscribers also got, and if you'd like to get yours for free, then I will leave that link below and you can get the magazine and the pack and the whole lot. It's all goodies this time of year. So we're talking about safety tips. I keep pointing down even though you can't see it, but I do have my little notes here on my phone just so I don't forget. And yeah, let's get into the video. Lola's just, chilling out there. I'll show her if you can see her. Her little igloo's behind. But anyway, yeah, so we're sticking to the bedroom setup at the moment. I was thinking maybe about doing in the conservatory, but the problem is all the cars that pass by and people that walk past the house. And I don't know if I just want to, I don't know if I would be as animated and, if I had people walking past watching me what I'm doing. But yeah, so I love Halloween. If you are the same, leave me a comment below. And I love including my dogs in Halloween. But because pets kind of view Halloween differently than we do, there are some things to take into consideration. And that's why I wanted to put in these kind of safety tips so that it can help you just to have like the best Halloween season with your dog. So, number one. I don't know about you, but I love candles this time of year, and I love carving pumpkins and making jack-o'-lanterns, that kind of thing. In fact, it is a tradition every year. Me and Joe, about a few days before Halloween, we will actually carve out pumpkins and put in our little candles, and pretty much every evening we light candles, every single evening. As soon as it gets to like September, that autumny vibe kind of thing going on, it's all candles most of the time. So this is actually the first tip, and that is to keep them out of the way of the dogs, or keep them out of the way of like sniffing noses and waggly tails, because they could knock them over, they could burn themselves and injure themselves, or they could just burn the house down. So it's just one thing to be aware of if you have animals or probably even small children, that you keep your candles in a place where they're very pretty but also they don't actually pose a hazard or a risk. Now, we actually use real candles. We don't have small children, so our candles are kind of higher up a lot of the time. We also don't leave them on if we're not around, so it works for us. However, if you're kind of worried about that, then you can also get battery operated ones, and I do know that there are really like lifelike ones or realistic ones that you can get that flicker and everything, so that might be a better option instead of, risking the fire. Number two, make sure your dog's information is up to date. So unfortunately this time of year, even though it's supposed to be scary, can actually be really scary for our animals, but in a very real way. So because of that, even people who've had their pets a long time, even if your pet doesn't even seem that nervous, if they hear loud noises, scary noises, banging, crashing, children screaming, maybe there's loads of people banging on the door, maybe children are playing games on the street and they're, being really loud, that can really scare your pet. And unfortunately it is a very real possibility that your pet might run away out of fright and hide somewhere. If this is possible, or if this happens, then you really want that information to be up to date. So make sure, one, that by law your dog is microchipped, and that their chip is, it's been checked recently. If your dog was microchipped a while ago, so my dogs have been microchipped. Ellie was last year, Oscar was about 2 years ago, and we recently had them checked. That was also to do with the fact that we are getting them a dog passport at the moment, which will be in a future video. But it's also a good idea to check because the chips can migrate as well, so you got to make sure that the chip is still there and where it is and all that. But make sure that information is up to date, that it's your information, your house. If you moved or anything like that, make sure that information is up to date for your dog. Also on their collar, make sure there's collar information. Whether you put their name on it or not is completely up to you. I understand both sides of the argument. I have my dog's name on their tag, but that's completely personal. I do understand that with the situation of dogs unfortunately being stolen and things like that, they say that it could be easier for your dog to be stolen if it's got its name on its collar because the dog will come to them because they know their name. I'm a little bit of the opinion that if they're going to steal your dog, they're going to steal your dog. And also I suppose my dogs aren't in my area a breed that is naturally stolen or normally stolen, I should say. So I don't know. I just think if they're crafty enough to steal your dog, they're not going to care about the name, are they? I don't know. It's completely up to you. I do understand the other side of the argument too. Of course, safety first. So yeah, but just make sure the number you have on the back, or if you have an address, I'm not sure if some people do that, just make sure it is up to date and is correct so that if somebody does find your dog, they will be able to contact you fairly quickly. One thing I would like to add is if your dog has any medical needs, see if you can put that somewhere there too. I actually haven't done this yet with Oscar. He does have a heart condition, he does need medication, and as I'm saying this, I realise this is something I should look into too, maybe getting him a second tag with that information on it, because although if he went without his medication, it wouldn't be an ideal situation, but I think he would be okay. Whereas if your dog has epilepsy, diabetes, something like that, they probably can't even miss one pill. So yeah, like me, and I have to do this too, we have to get a second tag with their medical information. Number 3, try to keep their living environment as calm as possible. So we all know that Halloween is like a loud, fun, crazy time of year. Depending on where you live, I mean, we live out in the country a little bit, so thankfully it's not all crazy all the time. However, we are 10 minutes from town, and inside in town they do this big Halloween howl thing, with parades, music, and it goes on for few days anyway. The town is decorated, it's a huge deal, and that is the case for many areas, not only all over Ireland, but all over the world. So as this is a crazy time of year, we need to make sure that our dogs don't live in that hyped up state all of the time. So some dogs kind of live for it. So Ellie kind of lives for that kind of state. She's in that state kind of a lot anyway. She's kind of an active hyper dog. Oscar avoids that state with a passion, so if there's some big crazy thing going on, he's in the corner wondering how he can make people stop, whereas Ellie's getting involved, wants to dance, wants to play, all that. But it's not really fair for your dog to live in that heightened state, so when and where you can, even if it's just in your home, make sure it's like a calming environment. It doesn't mean your house can't be decorated. It doesn't mean you can't have nice music on the background or anything like that, but it just means that it's much more calming than a kind of party all of the time. And if you are having a Halloween party or something like that, make sure there's an area of the house your dog can go and just be calm and relax and decompress. So, if you're having a party in the living room and the kitchen, make sure they can go into your bedroom and go for a little snooze or something and not live in that heightened state all of the time. Number 4, watch out for Halloween substances. So this might sound like a bit suspicious or something, but no, I'm talking about goop, fake blood, what's that, slime and squishy things, all of that fun stuff. Our dogs like to explore the world with their noses and their mouths and taste everything, and we just want to make sure that anything that's actually poisonous for our dog, they can't consume, because sometimes they know, sometimes they don't know, sometimes they just want to try everything. And if that's the case, then we don't want to be taking our dog to the emergency room. So if you have children that are dressing up, if you're dressing up yourself, I love it. Leave me a comment down below, tell me all about it. But just make sure that all the stuff you're using is out of the reach of any curious doggies. Number 5 is all about costumes. So in the pack, and actually in my last video, I mentioned that if your dog, isn't a big fan of costumes, no big deal. We can dress them up in other ways, bandanas, charms, and all that. But what I'm talking about right now is actually if your dog loves costumes, like Oscar. Ellie doesn't mind, actually. I mean, I haven't really tried. She doesn't mind wearing coats. She wears coats out, so I think she'd be okay with costumes. Oscar just loves dressing up, and I love him for that. So, but if your dog does, don't leave them in the costume for too long, because it's not really fair. Like, a lot of costumes aren't that breathable, they can be constricting, sometimes they're a bit bulky, they can get caught on things and just generally annoy the dog. Imagine if you're wearing costume all day, you didn't really ask to put it on, but yet you're being forced to wear it for hours. It's not cool. So yeah, of course, dress them up if they enjoy it. In fact, in both the mini magazine and both the Halloween pack, you can actually get loads of ideas of what to dress up your dog. And I also put in couples costumes ideas too, because I love that. So if you're like me, then there's all those ideas in there as well. But the only thing is, you don't want to leave them on too long. So if you're having a party, you want to put them on for a while, unless it's a jumper or coat, then they're okay with that. But if it's costume, put it on, have them enjoy the party for a little bit, and then take them off and leave them be free and enjoy the rest of their evening. I wouldn't leave it on too long, and I wouldn't leave it on unsupervised as well, again, unless it's jumper. We've 2 Halloween jumpers for Oscar and now Ellie, but unless they're jumpers, don't really feel too bad leaving them on him, because they're stretchy, breathable, and they don't have like bulkiness on them. But if it was an actual costume, like some of the really cool costumes that I see out there, then I wouldn't leave it on him too long. Number 6, let's talk about sweets. So this one I actually mentioned in both the mini magazine and the Halloween bag and the previous video, because it's so important, and that is xylitol. So some treats that sweets that we have for humans, so that would be like candy and ice cream, chocolate, especially sugar-free ones, or ones that say less sugar, things like that. Chances are they're using xylitol as a substitute for that. So check out what they have, or the ingredients that are inside in each of the sweets, or just simply keep them out of the way of the dog, because xylitol is deadly. It is very, very serious. It can be fatal in a very short period of time. In fact, I mentioned, I think was it in the last video, that I took Lola to the vet. Right there. I took her to the vet actually, it was only a couple of months ago, because I thought that she had eaten chewing gum. Now, I didn't see any signs, of her, in distress or anything like that, but it did look like it was possible that she'd eaten some chewing gum. I couldn't really tell because it was kind of broken up, but I was unsure. So I rang the vet, they said bring her in immediately. It works so quickly that even if you don't see signs, bring your dog into the vet. You call the vet straight away, you bring them in, because within the space of an hour you could lose them. So it just wasn't worth the risk for me. So yes, it cost us money and we had to bring her into the vet with no symptoms whatsoever, but thankfully she was absolutely fine. They couldn't see any signs of intoxication or anything like that, so we just had to keep an eye on her, and thankfully nothing happened. So she obviously didn't eat it, but it just isn't worth the risk. So keep your sweet treats out of the way of your animals. If you think there's a possibility that your dog may have eaten something, especially if it contains xylitol, call the vet and get them in immediately to check for signs of any sort of intoxication or neurological damage, anything like that, because it will happen so quickly, and it's just not worth the risk. Number 7, bring all your animals in before nightfall. So this might seem like an obvious one, but honestly, I don't think everybody thinks of it. So it's not even just about, taking your dog, only walking them during the day, and not walking your dogs at night, which actually is a really good thing to do because usually all that Halloween fun happens after nightfall. So that's when the fireworks happen, or, children playing with loud things, screaming, running around, all that kind of stuff tends to happen after dark. So it would make sense to walk your dog before it gets dark. But also, even just being in the garden, being outside in your yard or anywhere in your property, just bring them in as nightfall happens because all it takes is for someone to set off a firework or something around your area and for them to run away, just run, hide. I mean, you should have a secure garden or a secure yard anyway, but dogs are crafty. If they really want to do something, if they really want to get out, they will. So if they're really afraid of something, or maybe there's children or something, the worst could happen. And that's why you need your information up to date too. But always try and reduce the possibility of this or eliminate it altogether by bringing your dog inside. And those are my top tips for you today. So, like I said, if you want to check out more, you can get your free Halloween downloadable printable pack by clicking the link below and joining the amazing email subscriber pack. You will get your mini magazine as well for the month and receive all your extra goodies that are coming up very soon that I'm so super excited to talk about. But I'm gonna leave it another couple of weeks, at least not until after Halloween, because it seems a little bit disrespectful to talk about the holidays and, dare I say it, Christmas. But I do have something really big planned, so I'm excited. If you think that, you don't really think that being a part of the pack is just for you at the moment, that is absolutely fine. You can also check out Etsy and you can buy the pack there. In it, I've stuffed it with so much goodies because I just want you to have the absolute best Halloween season with your dog. And in any way that I can help to do that, I am here for you. I have got you. And that is why, if you're part of the email subscriber pack, you can expect so many more goodies coming your way before the end of the year. So it's been amazing talking to you, and I look forward to talking to you again very, very soon. Bye, friends.